Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video. Happy Easter whenever you guys are watching this. I'm filming this on Easter Sunday, so hope you guys have a great day. You guys get some time with your family and stuff. But in this video, I want to go over my exact ad strategy to scale to 100K days. So on the screen here, you guys can see a couple of results from my brand, as you guys know. On this day, we hit 110K day, another 103K day, 115K day. We did a 600K week. As you guys know, my brand has done multiple, 100K days. We peaked at about 120K day. But I just want to prove to you guys that what I'm teaching in this, I'm actually executing on, because I want you guys to follow the exact process from your first ad to consistent six-figure days. So in the last 2 months, we've done well over $2 million in sales at a 5.6% conversion rate. And I'm going to go over the process to making ads to scale to these numbers. So the very first thing that I want to go over is the position that you guys are in right now, because the main problem that most people go through is hitting a wall with their creatives. So most people in Ecom follow the exact same path, and it's that you launch ads and it works at first, then it stops, and when it stops, you have no idea what to do next. So let me walk you through what that looks like so you can see where you might be stuck right now and you may be able to relate to what I'm talking about, whether you're ripping calo ads at the start or you're a little bit deeper in some custom ads. I'm going to go through what you might be going through so you can really take in what I'm talking about in this video and execute on it. So make sure you guys are taking notes. It's going to be a super informational video for the exact process that I use to make ads that scale to six figures. So the most common thing is step one, you start ripping ads. You find ads on Calo, you rip the structure, maybe you swap in your product, or you just launch the winning ads. You launch them, and that's how most people start. And honestly, sometimes it works. You get sales, you start making money, and you think you have it all figured out, right? Step two, you try to scale. So if your ads are working and you start spending more, for a little bit, it might all look good, right? Your revenue goes up, you feel good, you think this is the business that you're gonna scale, and you start bumping the budget up and the revenue continues increasing and you think, oh, I found a winning product. Then you fall into step three, where everything falls off. And this is the part where this video comes into play and is going to be the most important thing that you guys take from this video. So your ads start dying, maybe you try to rip more but nothing hits like the first ads did. You're spending more, you're making less, the brand starts bleeding, and this is where you start scrambling to trying to find another winner, and nothing is working. You're taking all the Calo ads, you're launching them, and maybe you have this product that works for 2 months and you make a little bit of money. You make, I don't know, let's say you scale to six figures in revenue. Then it starts to die out, you have no idea what to do, and you're lost. Okay, that is the most common thing that I see when people talk to me, is that they rip ads and they scale and then they try to maybe move into some simple custom ads and they have no idea what to do or how to move forward with their ads and actually build a brand. And that's what we're going to be going over. What happens is that you never learned why those ads actually worked in the first place. Okay, you copied the structure but not thinking behind what's actually in those ads. So when those ads die, and trust me, they always die, you have no idea how to make more of that work. You get stuck and you don't know how to get unstuck. Usually this is the stage where people move into new products and they try to test the exact same thing and you never break through and build a real brand. So some common things that are the reason for this is ad fatigue. Okay, this is, most of you guys have probably heard of these terms, but Meta shows your ad to the same person over and over. The audience gets bored, performance drops, and this happens way faster than you think. When you scale your budget, your ads fatigue a lot faster. That's why people say when you're scaling, you need to pump out more creatives faster because your ads will fatigue more. Because obviously, as you're upping your budget, your ads are being shown to more people, meaning they're going to fatigue faster. The other issue is that you're not targeting any cold audience. So your ripped ads usually will convert the warmer, easier audiences because there's not much thought behind them, obviously. So once you burn through that kind of smaller audience pool, there's nobody left who resonates with a generic message. And that's the problem with your Calo ads, is it's a generic message. There's no thought behind it. It's just taking what people throw on TikTok Shop and hoping it works on Meta. And then you can't make more. You never understood why your ad worked. You can't recreate it. You just start ripping more. Maybe you burn through all the Calo ads and you just have no idea where to go. You start, testing random stuff, hoping it hits again, but there is no strategy behind that. And you will not build a brand with that, I promise you. And that's why a lot of you guys are going to relate to what I'm saying, because that's exactly what happens. You have no idea what to do. And it's the most common thing that I see when people DM me about ads, because ads really are the most important part of your entire brand, right? It pushes, advertising pushes conversions, obviously. That is the front end of your brand, the first thing people see, and so it is the most important to focus on your creatives. And I've gotten the question to make this video so many times and for so long that I'm finally sitting down and going over my structure. So the truth is that ripping ads is a pretty good starting point, okay, but it is not a strategy. It may give you data, but if you don't understand why an ad works, you can't make more of that work. It's pretty basic, okay, very simple. And if you can't make more of that work, you can't scale. So the difference between you and the brands that actually hit 100K days is that they have a process for making ads that convert on cold audiences over and over again. Very, very simple, okay? There's a lot of thought that goes behind marketing and building a brand, and that's what I'm going to go through. Before we even go into the process of making ads, you guys need to understand why ads actually work. So before you write a single word of copy, you need to understand this. The reason your ripped ads die is not because the format was wrong or the editing was bad. It's because you didn't understand what your customer actually wants. It's not what you think they want, not what your product does, but what they actually desire in your own words. And we're going to go over what a desire is, so don't worry. But this is the thing that separates people who get lucky from the people who can do it over and over again, because there's a huge separation in knowledge between people that run callow ads and run real brands. So what is a desire? Because a lot of people have probably heard the term and they don't understand what it is, but I'm going to explain to you guys what a desire is, because that is what drives marketing. So a desire, in simple terms, is an I want or I need statement, okay? That's how we kind of understand desires. So it's the thing that makes someone stop scrolling and actually pay attention to your ad. And what you guys need to understand is that you cannot create desires out of thin air, because people already want things. Your job is just to go out and figure out what they want and then channel that desire into your product and in your marketing. So a quick test that I use to make sure that you actually have, an actionable surface level desire is putting it into the I want/I need statement. So can you say I want blank or I need blank, and does it make sense? If yes, then that's a desire. If you can't put it into that sentence, it's probably not a desire. So the easiest way is to use the I want/I need statement and turn what you're looking at into an actionable desire. So if you can't do that, it might be a feature or benefit, but it's not the desire itself. The one desire rule. So what you guys still need to understand is that before you write any ads, okay, the one desire rule. Every ad you make should target one desire, okay? Not two, not three, one desire. This gives your ad focus and makes it hit way harder with the right person. When your ad speaks to one specific desire, the right people feel called out and the wrong people scroll past, which is why you have a lot higher hit rate, because you're targeting somebody very specifically and doing research on that specific desire. And that's exactly what you want, because it helps Meta algorithm figure out who to show your ad to. You'll also notice that your CPMs may be low if you're targeting the right way, because Meta knows exactly who this ad is for, and it's not struggling to show that ad to the right person. Now, when it comes to desires, there's obviously core psychological things behind it, because everything comes down to, psychological marketing. And every purchase traces back to one of these 6 core desires. I call them instincts because they're 6 human instincts that basically drive marketing, but we call them desires. So these 6 that I'm going to go over are the big ones, and every single product you've ever bought, every ad you've ever clicked on, it traces back to one of these 6 core human instincts. So understanding these helps you figure out what's really driving your customer to buy. And we'll talk about it more, but these aren't going to be things that you're actually talking about in your ad. It just helps you understand why marketing works and why your ads work. So the first one is health, and this is the strongest. So it's the instinct and desire to stay alive, stay safe, stay healthy. It is the strongest one. Rich or poor, health scares move everyone. Number 2 is status. To be respected, admired, seen as better than others. Social media made this way more powerful than it used to be, but status is number 2. Number 3 is the sex instinct, so to be attractive or feel desired. This one is fundamental, but more subtle in modern ads because of platform rules, but it's pretty simple, just to be attractive and feel desired. Number 4 is comfort, and this is to make life easier, avoid pain and effort. Technology made this something people expect now, not just want, which a lot of you guys obviously see nowadays with people just wanting to be more comfortable and making everything easier. The 5th one is control. So to have power over your life, predict what happens, manage the chaos, people crave control when things feel overwhelming. The number 6 is belonging, the desire to fit in, have community, to not be rejected. It's less urgent than the other ones, but still very powerful for certain products. So these are the 6 core human instincts that basically drive marketing at its core, and you need to understand them before we get into how to actually use that in your marketing. Core desires are obviously too broad for your ads. You don't put health in your ad, that's what every brand says. You need to find the surface level desires, the specific, again, this is the I want / I need statements that real people actually say, and that is what goes into your ad. So the core desire helps you understand the psychology. The surface level desire is what creates the actual connection. It's what we call an actionable desire. And I did throw some examples in here to help you guys understand a little bit better. And I promise you we're going to get deeper into how to actually bring this into your ads. But you guys need to understand the basics of desires in marketing to be able to create winning ads. For this example, let's say you're selling a sleep supplement. There is a ton of ways you can sell it, obviously. So the broad desire or core instinct is I want better sleep. Okay, this is true, but it's what every single sleep brand says. It's a super crowded room. Nothing about this makes someone want to stop scrolling because they've seen it 1,000 times. A specific desire using that is I want to stop waking up at 3 a.m. feeling wired. Now you're speaking to a real person with a real problem, and this cuts through because it's specific enough that someone reads it and thinks that's literally me, okay? They relate to the specific desire a lot better than the broad desire because they feel like you're being spoken to. But what is the core desire or instinct under both? Going back to the 6 core instincts that I talked about is health. So staying healthy, surviving. But again, the surface level desire, the specific I want statement is what actually goes into your ad. That's what creates the connection and makes someone feel like you get them. So it may feel a little bit confusing, and you guys can always feel free to ask me questions, but these 6 core instincts are just human psychology. It's not what you're actually putting into your ads. It's just helping you understand why desires actually drive conversions and winning ads as a whole. So let me explain why this matters for actually scaling and making ads. Because when your ad targets a specific desire, it does 2 things. It stops the right person from scrolling because they feel called out, and it filters out the wrong people so Meta's algorithm can learn who actually buys, okay? The specific desire equals cheaper CPAs and makes it easier to scale. This is literally the unlock that takes you from ripped ads that die out to custom ads that print, and how we hit these 100K days, okay? We implemented desires and basics of marketing because, again, we are quote-unquote dropshippers, but in reality, we're just marketers. We're taking a product and we're marketing it to people. So you need to understand how to market to them in the right way so you can make these winning ads. And people overcomplicate it a lot, but that's the whole point of me making this video. Now let's go into actually finding desires, because a lot of you guys are probably questioning, okay, I understand desires, but how do I actually find these desires in our customers' words that we can execute on? Again, the surface level actionable desire. Now, you need to understand that you don't make up desires, okay? Desires cannot be created. They are channeled and found through your marketing. Your customers are already out there telling you exactly what they want, what frustrates them, and what they've tried that didn't work. You just have to know where to look. This part isn't hard, it just takes a little bit of time. And it's the most important thing you'll do in this entire process, okay? This is how we actually find desires. The first and best place to start is Amazon reviews. So go to Amazon, find competitors or similar products in your niche or your direct product that you're selling, maybe if it's a Calo product. You can read the 1 to 3 star reviews. These are people telling you exactly what's broken, what they wish existed, and what language they use to describe the problem. And this is gold because it's unfiltered. Nobody is trying to sound smart in an Amazon review. They're just telling you what they actually think. So start with the 1 to 3 star reviews. You can also look at the 5-star reviews and look at what they actually want and got out of the product and understand what they bought the product for. Again, to understand the core desire behind them buying the product. But a couple of things to look at in those specific reviews is the I love this but statements. So these are usually the best ones. The person liked the product enough to buy it, but something specific let them down. That but is kind of where the desire lives. So there's that. Repeated frustrations. So when you see the same complaint across 10, 20, 50 reviews, it's not one person's opinion. It's a widespread desire that nobody is solving well and you can tap into. Their exact words. Pay attention to the specific language people use. Don't translate it into marketing speak. Their words are what resonate in ads because it sounds like a real person, not a brand. So while you're doing these reviews, I like to have a section on a doc where I'm writing everything down called buzzwords, and you like to throw their specific words and language that they're using because you're going to be able to relate to them in those ads a lot more. And then what they tried before is also important. So when someone lists all the stuff they tried that didn't work, that tells you what they've been through and what they're still looking for, which you can use as your angle or also pull those desires from. That is the first way to find those desires that I like to use as Amazon reviews, but you can go even deeper on Reddit. Reddit is where people say what they really think with zero filter. So you can search for subreddits related to your product category, look for complaint threads, recommendation threads, and those help me posts, and that's where you're going to find the emotional language, real frustrations, and the stuff people would never post about on Instagram. So a couple examples that you can look up is search and then product sucks. So it sounds, kind of aggressive, but it does work. This pulls up threads where people are venting about what's wrong with existing solutions, and it's pure desire fuel. You can find so many common desires there. Or you can search up the problem and then a solution. So this finds people actively looking for answers. They're describing their problem and asking for help. Now, one thing to preface is that you want to look for posts with a lot of upvotes on Reddit because a ton of upvotes means a lot of people feel the same way. So it's not just one person's random opinion. That's a validated desire that a lot of people share. If you find a common experience that people are having with 150 upvotes, you're going to be able to target that person and have a higher chance of that ad scaling because clearly more people relate to it than, a thread that has maybe 2 upvotes where you don't really have the data to prove that people are relating to this. Because remember, the goal of our ads is to be as relatable as possible with the customer we're targeting. Just remember that the goal of a winning ad is not to be pretty. It's not to have the best editing or the smoothest transitions or the most cinematic B-roll. The goal of a winning ad is to be relatable. That, if you guys are writing anything down, that is the most important thing. The goal of a winning ad is to be relatable with the person buying. So when someone watches your ad and feels like you're talking directly to them about their exact problem, that is what's going to convert. And that's why the research is so important. You're trying to make an ad that makes somebody feel understood and that they relate to. Go over a quick example with the sleep supplement again, just because we want to be congruent with the examples that we're giving here so you guys can understand it to the best of your ability. But let's use a sleep supplement example and do some, research on it. So you go to Amazon, you search sleep supplement, or again, usually you're going to search up your direct product because most of you guys are taking them off Callo. So try to find that exact product. Read the negative reviews and the positive reviews, okay? Both. Let's say you keep seeing the same thing over and over, is that it works for a few days and then it stops, or they still wake up at 3 in the morning, or they tried melatonin and it gave them weird dreams. Then you go to Reddit, you find threads in r/sleep or r/insomnia where people describe the same exact frustration. They've tried everything and nothing sticks. So now you can not only use your own knowledge to try to pull specific I want, I need statements, but you can give this to Claude and tell it exactly what you need from it. So with that research, you have a specific desire that's backed by real language, right? If we use the I want statement, I want something that actually keeps me asleep the whole night, not just helps me fall asleep. That's your angle and your desire that goes into the ad. You didn't make it up, you found it. And you proved that this desire is common because a lot of people are going through the same thing. So clearly, if you target that, you're going to have a higher chance of hitting a winning ad than just throwing random ads at Meta. So that is the whole point of research, okay? Find the specific words and frustrations your customer uses so you can put those exact words in your ad. And when someone reads your ad and it sounds like something they said last week, that is when they buy. You're not writing copy. You're just holding up a mirror. That's how you should try to understand ads. Your goal is to be as relatable as possible with the viewer and the consumer to make them feel like this ad is for them specifically. I know that was a little bit confusing going over, desires overall, but let's get into the actual execution and how to use that because that obviously is the whole point of this video. So if you guys are taking notes on this, you guys may want to save the video and come back to it because you should probably be executing these things in different steps. So try to, do your research, find your desires, and then grab those and then come back to it later and actually execute on it because it is a lot of information and, it can get very confusing. Getting into the actual execution, right? Making custom ads. So just going over the entire workflow. So here is the exact basically workflow that I use start to finish. So you don't need, a team or a huge budget. You just need tools and this process. So once you get the hang of it, you're going to be able to pump out ads a lot more consistently with, high intent. So let's say you don't know where to start, okay? You don't have to write a script from nothing. If you're starting at a blank page, you can go to Callow and find a winning ad in your niche, or maybe a winning ad from, TikTok Shop. Transcribe it, use that as your structure, and build off of it with your own research and your own angle, and most importantly, your own desire that you just pulled, because that is what you should be focusing on when you're writing these ads. Another way is you can go on Get Hooked. You can filter by 5 stars and make sure the ads are running for at least 14 days. You find a brand or just ads in your niche in general, and you can use one of their top performing ads as inspiration. So again, you can transcribe their ad, take the copy, and use that video as inspiration when you're making your own. So you're not just going to be copying the ad, you're studying the structure, the workflow, and the pacing. Then you make it yours with the desire and language you found in your research. Step 1, research. Step 2, getting inspiration and something to go off, and then obviously going into actually writing the script. So once you do that, you have your research, right? You have the ad that you're going to be taking inspiration from, whether it's the transcribed Callow ad or the Get Hooked ad. Now you actually have to write the script. So take all the research you just did and feed it into Claude. The desires, the customer language, the frustrations you found. If you found a winning structure from Callow or Get Hooked, give that to Claude too, so it has something to build off. And then let it draft the script for you. From there, you chief it, okay, go through it line by line and edit it so it sounds natural and sounds like a real person talking and matches the voice of your customer, okay? Claude will give you the foundation, but you have to go through and edit it and make it real. That's why, putting yourself in the customer's shoes, doing the manual research, understanding the customer is so important, and why I say to take time between each step, because you will be overwhelmed. And so do all your research, maybe get the ideas one day, and then the next day come back with a fresh mind, set of eyes, and start writing the script so you can really make it as best as possible. Let's say now, right, you finish the script, you spent, let's say a couple hours on it, you have your script done. Step 2 is to clone the voice. So to actually execute the ad, obviously, we need to have AI speak it so we can edit it and turn it into an ad. So this is where we go ahead and clone the voice. So you go on TikTok and you find a creator who sounds like your target customer. If you're selling to, let's say, a 45-year-old mom, go on TikTok, find a voice that sounds like a 45-year-old mom, and then clone that in 11 labs. That's how we're going to get a real customer voice that we can use to speak our script. So now, let's say you have a voiceover that sounds, real and relatable instead of just robotic and generic. What you guys need to understand is that the voice actually does matter way more than people think, because if they're hearing from somebody that sounds like them, they're just overall going to trust the ad a lot more. So now we have our script written, we have our voice cloned and, spoken the script. So now we're going to move to CapCut, and this is where you get into actually editing your ad. So step 3 is sourcing the B-roll to actually make the ad, obviously. So this is where you're going to put that transcribed audio that you just found into CapCut. You're going to find clips that visually match each section of your script. Remember, the hook is the most important. That's where you really need to pull people in and, keep them hooked, obviously, to keep them watching throughout the entire video. But put your script that you just got from 11 Labs into CapCut, and then go through your script line by line and pull a clip for each part. If the script talks about someone struggling to sleep, find a clip of someone tossing and turning, match the visuals to the words. Another important thing to understand is that you want to try to be consistent with the demographic that you're targeting. So obviously, if you're targeting 60-year-olds, you're not going to put, a 25-year-old sleeping. You're going to put an older person. So just try to be, congruent with that. The best places to find these clips, obviously Callow. So that's my top pick. There's already proven clips that, work in paid media, meta ads. You probably ran them already to get data. You also will just get a lot of product B-roll on Callow. And then TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram is where you're going to get a lot of the organic content. So just search for clips that match the vibe and the visuals you need. Again, if your script's talking about someone sleeping, go on TikTok or whatever, look up, grandma sleeping if you're targeting the 60-year-old. Download that and, split that up to where it matches. And then obviously, if you do need AI, Higgsfield is very important. You can use this if you need AI-generated B-roll or just static images overall. It's good when you can't find the right clips anywhere else, but ideally try to find organic content. That's, the majority of how your ad should look. It should be product B-roll and then organic content from TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, and then if needed, you can use Higgsfield too. You have that. Step 4 is putting it all together in CapCut. So put the voiceover in, you match the B-roll to each section of the script, add captions because most people do watch on mute and you need them to be able to follow along, so it's very important that you add captions. Sometimes when you're scrolling on Reels or whatever, you'll scroll and there's no audio, so you want to be able to have text on the screen so they still get pulled in. If you do have CapCut Pro, they have really good built-in captions. That's what I use, all my editors use. But if you don't have Pro, Captions AI on Toolsuite is very helpful, which actually brings me into the next section talking about Toolsuite, because it is honestly one of the best investments you can make if you're running ads. It's not just the captions, but it has, you know, all the different AIs that you need in one place. It has ads by tools, AI creative tools, landing page builders, analytics. It literally has everything. So instead of paying for 10, 20 different subscriptions, you just pay for one. I think it's like $20 or $30 a month. There's a link in the description with a code. I think you get like 20% off or something, 10% off that you guys can use if you want to use Toolsuite. That's what I use. It literally has everything. It has Claude, it has 11 Labs, CapCut. I don't know if it has Higgsfield, but you know, Toolsuite has most of it. But again, this is the full tool stack that you're going to need for your ads. So obviously Claude for script writing, give it the research, drafts, and then you edit your script. You can also use Claude to do research if you want to. Usually I like to do manual research, but to be more efficient, that can be helpful. 11 Labs then to clone the voice and match the target demographic. CapCut is to edit, you know, the B-roll, voiceover, captions, everything together. Higgsfield for AI B-roll or statics whenever you need them. And then obviously Toolsuite does have everything, so it's going to be very helpful for you guys if you don't want to spend money on everything. So the entire process will take you a couple hours, even when you get the hang of it. So the research is usually the hard part, where you put, you know, a lot of effort and brain power in. The production is pretty simple, so you just put the research in, the right tools, the right order, script, voice, visuals, then you edit. Like, it's really pretty simple to edit the ads. And then once you've done it a couple times, it kind of just becomes second nature, and you can start pumping out new ads whenever you need them. That is basically the entire cycle of how we make ads that convert and hit those 100K days. We start with research, then we move to finding the actual structure that we can go off, because obviously most of you guys aren't very familiar with making custom ads. So find a structure, use it, go into Claude, start scripting, right? You take your research, the structure you just took, to Claude, you start scripting, then you get the voice, you clone it, you move to CapCut, you put everything together, and you match the B-roll to the script. And that's literally the entire workflow and process of creating winning ads. That is what we did to make ads that have spent multiple six figures. I already showed you guys. We did, you know, I've done a ton of 100K days, well over $2 million months. I think our biggest month was like 1.7 mil. That is what we do. That is the exact process. That's why what I'm going over in this video is so important, because I'm not just telling you guys what to do. I'm doing it myself, and I'm proving to you guys that it works. So if you guys have questions, feel free to ask me in the comments or in my Discord below. But let's continue on with the video. So once you've done all that, what you guys need to understand is the mindset behind it, because this is very important, right? You're going to be putting a lot of effort into these ads, but you need to understand that you cannot make emotional decisions. So it does kill more brands than the actual bad ads, because your emotions are not data. Some of the worst decisions I've ever made in my business were the ones that I made because I felt like something was right instead of looking at what was actually happening. So if you take one thing away from this whole video, let it be this. Do not let your emotions guide your decisions, okay? So don't get attached to your ads, even though, like I said, you spent hours making an ad. You think the script is perfect, you launch it, nothing works, okay? Your gut says give it more time, keep running, it's a good ad, but the data says it's not working, okay? Listen to the data. If it's taking spend super unprofitably, kill the ad, make another one. If it doesn't take spend, just leave it on. It may take spend down the line, but again, listen to the data, okay? The ad does not care about your feelings, neither does Meta. If you follow the process above, you know how to make another one. That's the whole point of having this entire system, and this is also what, you know, when you get deeper into your brand, you're going to be teaching the people that are working for you. That is why this process is so important. Then, when ads die, don't panic. It's also very important, because obviously your best ad is going to start declining, and maybe your first instinct is to panic, but that's not what you should do, okay? You might change the budget, duplicate the campaign, turn it off, just stop. Step back, take a deep breath, understand ad fatigue is normal. Every ad dies eventually. If you understand desires and marketing at its core and you have a research process, you already have everything you need to make the next one. The system replaces the panic. If you made a winning ad and it starts to fatigue, take that structure, do your research, follow the process again, and continue making more winning ads. That is how we build real brands. Now, the last thing for the mindset is to not scale off emotion, because a lot of people do this, right? You have one good day, and now you want to, serve scale, 3x your budget. Just slow down. One good day is not a trend. Let the data build up. Make decisions based on what's actually consistent, not what happened in the last 24 hours. So the difference between people who scale to 100K days like me and Kane is that we don't get excited and just start cranking the budget, okay? We are patient and let the numbers actually guide our decisions. So usually I like to say 2 days of consistent KPI, so ideally 20 to 30% margins is where you can start scaling. Just one good day is not going to be enough for you to bump budget. So again, don't tie your emotions. There's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days. At low spend, you're going to have a lot more inconsistency, because if you get, let's say 3 less sales at $200 daily budget, that's going to make a huge difference to your brand than for me. If I get 5 less sales, it'll just be, a little bit of a lower day. But don't tie your emotions to it. Try to detach yourself as best as possible. And be very high intent with the ads you're pushing out. All right, so the simple rule here is to let the data tell you what to do, obviously. If something works, scale it. If it doesn't, kill it. Or, again, if it's not hurting you, just leave it. If it's not taking spend unprofitably, don't be super strict with it. Just leave it. It may take spend down the line. That's one of the biggest things. One of our ads didn't spend for a month and then started spending, so just leave it. If you're not sure what to do, just give it more time and budget to actually get a real answer. Never make a decision because you're scared, excited, or attached. Make decisions because the numbers told you to. Now, just to kind of do a little bit of a recap here, what we covered, why ripping ads only gets you so far, what desires are and why they matter, how to find desires in your own customers' words, the exact workflow for making custom ads that actually convert, and why your emotions are the enemy of good decisions. That is the foundation and the entire system behind what we do. Obviously, there's a lot more underneath it, but I wanted to give you guys kind of an understanding of the workflow that we use and how to actually implement that into making good ads that will convert. We do obviously go a lot deeper marketing overall. There's a lot more that goes into it. Building out full customer avatars so you know exactly who you're talking to, developing angle strategies that don't burn out, scripting frameworks that let you pump out winners consistently, testing structures so you're not guessing what to launch and you actually know what to launch. How to scale for when things actually start working. That's the stuff that takes you from, having a good week or a good day to, I'm doing this every single day, I'm building a brand, and I'm hitting those 100K days. Which brings me into the end of this video where I wanted to talk about the community that me and Kane have been building that you guys know about, made by Ecom. And that is where you guys are going to learn the full system and be able to actually execute on a lot of the stuff we talk about. So if you guys are interested in going deeper with marketing and this side of Ecom, because there is a lot more that goes into building a real brand than just ripping callow ads, this community is going to be very helpful for you guys. We've been building it for the last couple months, and it's been great. There's a lot of people in there. I'll go over it. Basically, Made by Ecom is the community me and Kane built around everything we use to scale our brand. So whether you're brand new or already running ads, everything inside is built for you guys. So again, there's the full beginner side and the advanced side. It's just a tight group of real people that are actually doing this, not just a random server with just a bunch of bots. So we have, the full beginner course that goes everything from how you get from 0 to 10K, A through Z. If you're starting out from 0, it's a full course that walks you through everything step by step: product research, website, offer, creatives, ad account setup, meta ads, scaling, literally everything. And then the more advanced modules, which is kind of deeper dive on market research, frameworks, avatar psychology, ad creation, concept building, testing and scaling strategies, and just a bunch of more stuff, which also, we drop modules consistently. So if you're in there, we're up to date with everything we're doing and everything's in there. We have, sections for questions. We're constantly, helping the people in the community. There's weekly calls, so there's 1 to 2 live AMAs every week where you can ask anything you guys want. Plus, we're in the chat literally every single day. We answer questions the entire day, so you can submit brand reviews too. One of the new things we added is a brand review tab. If you guys need help on product selection that's more specific to you that you don't want other people to know, or if you're again more advanced and you're running a brand and you need some direction, you can open a brand review ticket. It's honestly basically like a mentorship. We can look at your metrics and kind of tell you what to do next. On top of that, for the people that are a little bit more advanced, we do also have a very private one-on-one coaching. So we do only take 2 students per month for this. It's super private. You get our entire systems, in-depth knowledge, and direct guidance on your specific brands. If you guys are more interested in the actual coaching side of things, you can just DM me on Discord and I'll get back to you. Again, this is a very private thing. We don't really talk about it. It's very tight-knit, so if you're more beginner, I would not suggest getting into that. That is more for the advanced side, that people that really want to hit those 100K days and scale to those numbers. And then obviously with Toolsuite, if you guys want that, there's a link in the description. There's also, again, for this entire community, everything is in the description. There's a link down below if you guys want to know what's in this, everything, like a more in-depth explanation. And then if you're interested in the mentorship, you can just go ahead and DM me. But here are a couple of wins from the community. Richard is one of the guys who is a little bit more advanced. He's doing 100K weeks, which is crazy. Some of the stuff that he's been implementing changed a lot for his brand, and he's doing 100K days now, which is great. PJ, 2.5K day. Ashton, another 2.5K day. Ashton actually just scaled yesterday to his biggest day ever. I think he hit a 5K day, which is insane. He's been grinding. Shopify Plax, Parhar hit a 18K day in just 28 hours, or basically an 18K day, which is insane. Like some insane numbers that these guys are hitting. Ada hit a 4K day with a 5 ROAS, literally just 4 days into his brand with the stuff we're implementing it into this community. And there's a lot of testimonials here because obviously a lot of you guys are going to say I'm biased because it's my community. There's a testimonial section where you guys can hear from people that are in it, not just from me. Noah, for example, he said he's joined a lot of paid communities, has spent well over 10K on info. This is one of the best ones he's joined, and actually have learned so much in just 2 weeks. Shout out to Jacob and Kane for actually doing Ecom and not faking it. So Noah's a GOAT. He's been grinding as well. There's a bunch of more. I'm not going to go over all these. Let's go. I've joined a few other courses and mentorships, and Kane and Jacob reply way faster than any of them. Even the high-ticket one-to-one. I like that they actually answer the questions in depth so I understand what to do. Besides that, just a very cool community with other people that are serious about Ecom. 100% worth the money and would recommend if you're into Ecom. So if you guys are interested in that, the link is in the description. Again, whether you're starting out or just trying to scale and get to those numbers, Made by Ecom has literally everything. And if you're serious about the actual one-on-one coaching, you can just go ahead and DM me. It's a lot more private though. We only take 2 students per month, and we're very strict with who we take on. But that is going to bring me to the end of this video. If you guys enjoyed this, please let me know down in the comments. If you guys have any questions, as always, let me know in the comments as well. I'll get back to you. You guys know I answer all my questions. But make sure you guys like the video if you guys enjoyed it, and subscribe as always. Hopefully I can hit 10K subscribers soon. I'm putting a lot of effort into the content side of things. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Wishing you guys a happy Easter whenever you're watching this. God bless, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.